The San Francisco 49ers are going to kick ass and take names this season, and it all starts with head coach Kyle Shanahan.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. New day, new time for the Niners Now podcast with my co-host, Jess. Jess, it's been a minute. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Long time no see.
Long time no see. Unfortunately, such situations happen in the off season, and we go through things. We get a little bit busy. There's not really too much to talk about in the off season. So what do? We try to just bring up topics and so forth. And me and Jesse haven't been able to connect the last few weeks, and we decided, you know what? Let's reconnect and let's change the date to Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this will be our new day and our new time, so hopefully you guys can make it. And we're getting ready for a show during the whole draft like we did last year. For those that did not watch us last year or are familiar with us, Jess and I went on all 3 days for the length of the draft. And that is what we're planning to do this year. We're going to take it day by day. Next week, for sure, we're going to be here for the length of the draft. We want to have guests come on, and we're going to answer questions. We're going to talk about every player that goes to every team, but particularly we get excited when the 49ers are on the clock to see who they are going to draft, and the guessing game will be over. And we see that Jess has a guest with her today. Who do we have, Jess?
I do. This is Kaya.
Well, hi,
Kaya's
Kaya.
being a bad girl, so she's sitting on my lap probably for the entire show.
Is she barking?
Yeah.
Well, my window's open, and when my wife told me she was leaving, she allowed my Chihuahua to come in, so she's in here, and the window's open. So hopefully I'm quick at the mute button for myself, because you will hear her bark, so don't feel bad. And unlike you, I can't pick her up because she'll scratch and pull and try to get off my arms when she sees a dog on the window. So it's all good. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody to the show real quick before we go forward. Let's start with our friend Daniel Burry Sports. Highlights in the house. What's up, Daniel? We got Jimmy in the house. What's up, Jimmy? Welcome to the show. Oh, that's a little bit too far. Hold on. All right. Let's see, Jimmy. We got who else do we have in here? We got Carcast, the young man. Carcast, how you doing, Carcast?
Carcast.
Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. We got Luis Moreno in the house. How you doing, Luis? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. So, are you excited about the draft next week? And let me ask you, Jess, what does a draft mean to you personally? How do you go upon the days coming to the draft? Do you watch all these reports? Do you do mock drafts? Do you watch mock drafts? Tell us a little bit of a background when it comes to the draft for you.
Well, every year now since the movie came out, Draft Day, as cheesy as it may sound, and, a lot of people thought that, it was just like one of those, those just cheesy types of movie. I watch it, and I watch it every year, and I just watch it, like once a year around draft time, and I'll watch it next week, and that kind of gets me going, ready for the draft, and I'm excited. It's a big draft for us this year. It's the first draft without Adam Peters, so we'll see how John Lynch does. But I have all the confidence in this organization to get it done.
Yeah, talk about the movie. I like that movie as well. One of my favorite actresses, and I always like is Jennifer Garner.
Mhm.
I like the way she plays there. I believe um, it's Kevin Costner that is in that movie, or
Yep.
I'm always confusing the actor because there's two of them that look kind of similar. But I think
Yeah,
it's
it's Kevin Costner.
okay. Yeah, and it's a great movie. I don't know if it's about I know some people think a lot of things are cheesy, but it just depends on your flavor and what you like. But it's a nice little routine to have every year. Like every year, I like one of my favorite Christmas movies that I love, and I have to watch it every single year because it's just something that I like to do. Some people might think that that's cheesy. Some people may think it's not, but I like it. And the same thing with the draft. I get into it. I like it. I start doing mock drafts. I start looking at my mock drafts. I start listening up. I love college. I'm a Seminole guy, Florida Seminole guy. So I know the college players. So I'm all hyped. Not just particularly for the ones that are going to the Niners. Now, I know there's other teams like the Rams that we don't care about, or Seahawks. But I do like to see players, to see where they go, because these are young men. They don't get to choose where they go, but they get to choose how they perform while they're there. And although I may not like the team they might go to, but if the player is someone that works hard, has great ethics, and is a great young man on and off the field, I like to wish them the best wherever they go. And it's exciting to see these men live be transformed through the draft, ultimately making their life dream come true. Because whenever you play football since a little kid, your goal is to make it to the NFL. Now, unfortunately, not everyone gets to experience that, but for those that do, I can only imagine the emotions they go through them. And that's why you see a lot of these young men cry. You see families cry because we see it live during the draft, right? But what we don't see is all the back stuff that to their career, from Pee Wee to playing in high school to playing in college, all the ups and downs, the struggles, the wanting to give up, not giving up, fighting through adversity, fighting through injury, and finally getting and accomplishing their goal, making it into the NFL. I can imagine how exciting and emotional that is because of all the adversity they face. So I like to see that. Jess, I know that we're particularly Niner show, and we're going to talk Niners, period. But do you think the Bears will trade out, or do you think like the whole world is expecting to take Williams at number one? Do you think they're smart enough? Now they traded Justin Fields, so you would presume they're going to take a quarterback. Do you think, and what's your thought process of this young kid coming out of USC? Do you think he might be the real deal, or is one of those we have to wait and see type of things for you?
I think it's a wait and see type of thing. I'm not completely sold on Caleb Williams, but I think the Bears stay put and they actually draft him.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. You don't get rid of Justin Fields and kind of put yourself. I don't know about you, but or anyone watching right now. To me, Chicago is a place where quarterbacks go to die. They haven't had a good quarterback there in forever. Jim
Mhm.
McMahon, he was the last quarterback, and he was okay, but he wasn't great. We'll see if they get it right. We'll see if they get it right, man. Kind of like last year, right? Last year, now I understand that the personnel of the Houston Texans and the personnel of the Panthers are completely different. I understand the young kid that went to the Panthers, he didn't have that many things tools to around him as C.J. Stroud did. But man, when you see stuff like this, like the whole Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers thing, when you take a quarterback like the Panthers did and they passed on CJ, and then you see how CJ played at Houston and what he showed in 1 year, the type of quarterback, how much do you think the Panthers are shooting themselves in the foot?
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers have a long way to go. I still wish we got Brian Burns, but that's okay.
Where did he go, by the way? I know
He went to the Giants.
oh my God. Well, it's a little bit up than the Panthers, but I guess some people chase the money and some people chase the ring, right?
Yeah, you could definitely, definitely see who those people are. Just by the organization. And the Giants, they're definitely not chasing a ring anytime soon.
No, no. In fact, for what I've been hearing through the tea leaves, is that they might be moving up to get a quarterback because Daniel Jones, which I understand, Daniel Jones was not their pick. There's, they inherited him, but they did pay him all that money, and I say that to say this, that we're going to be facing that situation next offseason with Brock Purdy. Now, I'm not comparing Brock Purdy to Daniel Jones. Brock Purdy's way better. He has proved to do much more, and he'll be a wise investment. But there's always that risk when you pay a player and that player doesn't plan out while that new contract, as we're seeing with Daniel Jones. With Brock Purdy, based on what you've already seen, taking the emotion part out of it, do you think that we might regret paying this kid, or we're going to reap the fruit of paying him because this guy's going to continue to be the guy that we all want him to be and know that he can be?
Well, I'll tell you this. He definitely has to perform this year in order to get that contract. Because it's not a given. And I'm not saying that he won't.
Correct.
But he even said that, he definitely has to perform. There's things he has to do better. Before he gets that contract. This is his first full off season, just OTAs, training camp, where he's not rehabbing. So it's definitely, I think we're gonna have another exciting year, to be honest. And with him having a full off season of just focusing on football, I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I agree. I like what you said about the offseason with Brock Purdy, because people sometimes tend to forget that he had an amazing season in 2023, threw for over 4,000 yards. I think he had like 30 plus touchdowns. The kid was special. And he did all of this with none of offseason. I mean, this kid was hurt the last game for him the year before in the NFC Championship game. A lot of us were talking in the podcast about whether Brock Purdy would play. Would he be able to play? Would he miss the whole year? Would he miss 2 or 3 games? Would he miss 6 months? Blah, blah, blah. We all were speculating what might happen with Brock, and Brock came in and like a wildfire just took the league in a storm, did great. That's without an offseason. Imagine now his 30 year, okay, his second year as a starter with a whole offseason, how much this kid's going to make a jump, a leap. Quarterbacks in particular, but a lot of positions normally make that leap in the 30 year. We're going to see that with Brock, and I'm with you, Jess. I think this kid is the real deal. I fell in love with him the first day I seen him play. I seen him play in college, not much, but I fell in love with him. I seen him playing against Miami. The way he stood against Miami's defense, it showed me a lot. I had never had hate for the other quarterback that is no longer with us. I wish he was the guy. I wish he would have been the guy, but it didn't work out. But this kid Brock is the real deal, man, and I'm excited to see him going forward. Talking about Brock Purdy and being successful in this year, typically it's contract year, he's going to need a guy by the name of Brandon Ayuk. And I'm pretty sure, unless everyone has been living underneath a rock, a lot of people have been saying a lot of things about Brandon, and it's expected, right? It's the off season, it's before the draft. People and their mamas are going to be saying this, saying that. We all wonder what's true, what's not. We went through this. We relived this through Debo. Debo wanted to trade. He wanted to be traded. Oh, my God, is he going to be traded during the draft? Draft came and went. He's still here. We signed him. He loves it here. So a lot of faithful, you got to kind of relax. I know that you're anxious. You want to see Brandon Ayuk to be signed. But if there's anything you can rest your hat on, at least for me, and I'm going to ask you, Jess, is that the Niners' reputation speaks for itself. If this was the first contract up for bid, and we were in uncharted territory, and we didn't know what to expect, I can understand being afraid, being nervous. Oh my God, is he going to get traded? Is he going to go to the Steelers? Because that's what you've been hearing a lot. But the fact is, we went through that with Kittle. We went through that with Fred Warner. Nick Bosa is the highest contract ever to be paid out as a 49ers history, and that was taken care of. We went through the whole ordeal with Debo. So I tend to believe that the Niners always sign the player they love and covet, and it never happens sooner than late July, early August. It's a trend that they do every year. Are you panicking, Jess, with all the nonsense you're hearing out there? Or you're like, whatever, let people talk. I know my organization. I know what they do. I know they take care of their players. I know that Ayuk wants to be here. The Niners want him here, and he'll get signed.
They definitely take care of their own. As you stated with Debo, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. So it's definitely gonna get done, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Because we've seen, Nick Bosa's contract being done late and him really, kind of never getting into that rhythm, last season. You know what I mean? Pretty much until the end. Same thing with Debo. Debo said that, the contract negotiations, it was a distraction and he didn't play well. Um, so and Brock, like Brandon Ayuk is Brock's guy. So for them it's, let's get this done. That's very big font.
I'm working on that as you're speaking.
um but yeah, it's, they'll get it done. But hopefully, like I said, it's sooner rather than later, and just get it over with. Just so everybody's practicing and everybody's moving forward.
Yeah, remember what I said about things going into the iCloud?
Yep.
Yeah, this was one of them. I knew I was going to bump into one, but let's see here. All right, there we go. We got it all in there and did not cover Jess. We cannot cover Jess. What am I thinking? I can cover myself all I want, but Jess, no. My apologies to all the viewers that did not get the chance to see Jess while she was speaking. I'm sorry, but we got it fixed. Everybody, the chances of me screwing up are much better than you leaving the Niners. Put it that way. But I'm with you, Jess. I'm with you. He's going to be here. He's going to. There's no indication that I believe he's going to go anywhere. He loves it here. You hear a lot of things like, he wants a pure thrower and he wants, blah, blah. Debo came out and said, I never requested a trade. I never wanted to be traded. I always wanted to be here. But these young kids, they're young. You got to remember, they're in their 20s. It's all about social media. And they, like when you unfollowed the Niners, right? Everybody, oh my God, he unfollowed the Niners on Instagram. Debo did the same thing. Hello.
See, to me, like it's just childish. Like I don't like that.
But you got to remember where we're at our age and what they're at their age, we're two different places. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. It is. But when you're in your, I mean, if you can, you don't have to share, but if you can recall some of the things that you did at 20 that you can tell yourself today, oh my God, what was I thinking? I'm pretty sure there's some of those, aren't there?
Yeah, maybe. I just I don't know. Something like that, you're one of the leaders of the team. There's people that look up to you. You know what I mean? I just they like yeah, they are human beings and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like on their platform, like it's just I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of that.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And I'm not a big fan of it either, but I understand why they do it. It's all about being in the light. But at the end of the day, we've seen it before. And these players have been signed. The only one that has did not sign was DeForest Buckner, and he wasn't a pick of the Niners, but he was good enough. But he outbid himself, and I think personally because he wasn't a Niners pick, the Niners decided to let him go and move on. And we're not going to talk about the who replaced him and who did it, but at the end of the day, I really believe that Ayuk will be a 49er for a very long time, and a lot of you Niner fans are worrying for something they shouldn't be worried about. I'll tell you one thing. Late July comes around, middle August, and we haven't heard of a signing yet. Now, you mentioned Nick Bosa. Now, to me, Nick Bosa is it's an outlier. Why? Because he got the biggest contract ever in 49er franchise. I expected that to take a long time because they were going back and forth. I don't expect that the same thing to be with Brandon Ayuk. I think they have a little bit more understanding from the receiver position than they did as a defensive end. So I think that early July, he'll get signed. I don't think he'll miss or come close to missing week one like we did with Bosa. He'll be fine. He'll get signed, and we'll go back to our lives, and we'll be able to breathe and so forth. And for fans that have told me on Twitter, and sorry, I don't like to call it X, Twitter, what about if they do trade him? And I'll say this. I don't know if you agree with me, Jess. I don't think they're going to trade him. But if they do, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to just deal with it and figure it out from that point on if it happens. But why worried about something that hasn't happened before it happens? And real quick, before I give you the mic, my beautiful, loving goddaughter just popped in. Jade, how you doing, beautiful? Love you. Thank you for coming in to say hi to Nino and supporting the show. This is my co-host, Jess. She's the one that makes the show. We used to come every Friday at 6 o'clock. We are now coming on Thursdays at 5 p.m. So let all your friends and family know about the Niners Now podcast with my co-host, Jess. And look who Jess has there, Jade. She has her baby in her arms. Jay loves dogs. She has one of her own. So thank you, Jay, for coming in. But yeah, so enough of that Ayuk conversation. He's going to sign. He'll be here. What position? And I understand we're not John Lynch. We're not Kyle. Now, I trust John Lynch and Kyle. They have not proved me wrong. Have they made some bad picks? Yes. The Solomon Thomas. But which organization hasn't? But for the most part, when you talk to me about a Kittle in the 5th round, you talk to me about a Greenlaw. You talk to me about a Warner. You talk to me about Hufanga. These guys do their homework. What position do you think, in your opinion, Jess, the Niners may pick at 31 if they don't move up or down?
I could actually see them going corner at 31.
Interesting. Corner,
I
huh?
mean, I've had like a little I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I definitely don't think we're going offensive tackle. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if we went, defensive end, defensive tackle. you know, to go receiver. I don't think so. But I think corner.
Corner, huh? That's interesting. I think that's an area. Now they brought in some corners in free agency that I like, but you can never have enough corners. Pretty much our whole secondary is up for grabs next year.
Yep.
Next year is going to be very interesting off season. The reason why I say that is if Mooney Ward has another Pro Bowl year, are the Niners going to pay him? Are they going to let him go? But that's a conversation for next offseason. But I'm
I'm
excited.
actually, before you go on, I'm actually kind of curious to see how the secondary performs this year because Steve Wilkes was a big, secondary guy, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to see how they perform this year.
Now the guy they brought in, I keep forgetting his name. The one that coach Stanley or Staley or
Yeah, Brandon Staley.
yeah, he and people. I'm going to explain this to some people. Is that just because you were a failure as a head coach doesn't mean you're not good at your positional post. It just, I've seen it with North Turner. For all those young people probably don't even know who North Turner is. But North Turner was a great, great offensive mind. Just couldn't do it as a head coach. Some coaches just can't get it done when they have to worry about everything, but they're great at their position. With that said, the guy that we picked up, he's also great in the secondary. He really, really good with the secondary. A lot of the secondary guys that we brought in free agency, what I've been reading is because of his input. So I'm excited to see how we transition from last year to this guy in our secondary. But what I'm most excited is that we're going back to our roots when it comes to the front four, having the guys be able to do what they love to do and go after the quarterback, not make them think too much, and just go out after the quarterback. I think we missed that last year under Wilkes, and I'm excited to get that back.
Yeah, we definitely did miss that last year. The front four definitely didn't get at the quarterback as much as we would have liked. So it'll be nice to get back to form.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Listen. I think the Niners might go receiver in the first round, and listen why. And for those that, again, oh my God, if they take a receiver, what does that mean for Ayuk? Ayuk ain't going anywhere. I can't stress that enough. But you may not like what I might have to say. If they do go receiver in the first round, it's potentially Debo's replacement going forward.
Right.
And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I know we have favorites. We love certain players. But at the end of the day, it is a business. And you always got to try to improve and go younger and cheaper at positions. And I think I love Debo. Debo is he can do it all. There's not a player out there like a Debo. And I appreciate Debo. And I'm excited Debo. For getting the number one on his jersey. I know I have a couple of 19s, and I know people are like, but get your personal feelings out of the way. I think that one is I think Debo's going to have a hell of a year this year. He knows it, whether it's going to be here or going somewhere else. And I'm not saying Debo can go anywhere, but if they do get a receiver, it's to replace him eventually, not Ayuk. But it could even be to replace. Now people say, "Well, what about JJ?" Maybe they were going to replace him with. They're not going to take a number one receiver with their first pick to replace a receiver at the third spot, right? That's going to be happening somewhere in the fourth, fifth round, eventually. So we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us and take an offensive tackle. Maybe they move up to get that tackle that they need and covet. We'll see what happens. What's up, Daniel Cantu? I see you coming in there. Jose Villa, I see you popped in. Daniel Cantu, I see you popped in. David McNiner is in the house. Welcome, guys, to the show. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm fired up. Jess, I mentioned this on my podcast. To me, the draft is Christmas in April. We get to find out what Santa brought us. And who is Santa? Obviously, it's John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan because they're the ones that make the pick, and we get to wait until our pick to unwrap, if you will, the present to see who's inside. Whoever it is, whatever position it is, I trust our organization to make the right pick, and I'm going to be excited for that individual. And anybody that wears the and I don't even have to ask Jess because I already know this, but anywhere that wears the SF logo becomes part of the family. And while they're here, we're always going to root for the best success. I'm never going to call anybody within wearing the SF a bum. Once they leave, if they didn't work out, that's a discussion for a different day. But as long as they wear the uniform, they're going to get my respect. What's your thoughts on that, Jess?
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, you you root for the team, for a reason, and just like, everybody has a favorite player, but at the end of the day, it's about the logo. Um, but the draft, I'm looking forward to the draft. Can't wait, can't wait for it. We're a week away. And then, before you know it, the schedule will be out, which is also a fun thing. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting, that's for sure. But, this season, this 2024 season, we definitely have the core players together. So there's no need to, look ahead to 2025, which in my own opinion, I still think we'll have, maybe we won't have Debo, but I think we'll have majority of the core still together. I don't think we'll be in cap hell like people claim that we'll be in 2025. Um, but at the end of the day, this is the 24 season, and let's go for another Super Bowl.
Exactly. Listen, the what's the word for it? I always lose it. The salary cap is always going up every year. It went up a lot this year. It's going to go up. Business as well for the NFL. Things are booming. TVs are the TV contracts are booming. The contract it's going to go up, and as long as we have Parag doing his thing back there, I'm always confident that the Niners will always find a way to get things done. I think people panic a little bit too much at the salary cap. It's the real thing. You do have to make hard decisions, like Eric Armstead no longer being in the Niners. They had to make a tough decision. The guy's been great. He's been a leader on and off the field. I hate to see him gone, but I understand the business. I understand people might say, well, it was disrespect that the Niners went up to him and offered him $6 million. But was it? You got to understand, if he came off a Pro Bowl year, hasn't hardly missed any time, and they did that, I'm with you. I'm like, what the hell is the Niners doing? But Armstead, as much as I love him, I've been a big fan of him, still am. He has missed a lot of games due to injury, and he hasn't been on the field. So as the Niners, as a business side of it, you got to look and say, a lot of times we got to take things out of the feelings and realize we love Armstead, we rooted for Armstead, but he's not on the field that much. And we're not getting the production that we normally would want for 18 games. And to pay him all that money where we can allocate that somewhere else, I understood why they went to him. And listen, I'm all for him going. And people say the Niners didn't respect Armstead. Did you know that they cut him under contract? Don't tell me the Niners don't love Eric Armstead. They cut him. They could have traded him. They could have traded him to any team and got picks for us. But out of respect for Eric Armstead, they cut him so that he can go to where he wanted to go. And that to me was respect that the Niners showed Eric. So when I hear a lot on Twitter that Niners don't respect Eric, I can't agree with that. I think the fact that they cut him instead of trading him shows the amount of respect. But they understood, we can't pay you this amount for the performance that you're providing each year. We need to cut, something needs to happen. And he chose to bet on himself, and he went to the GM that drafted him. So good for him, and I wish him the best. We moved on. I like Malik Collins. We'll see what he does. I love Elliott, Jordan Elliott. They're not the big pass rushers, but they're amazing. If you were always yelling at your screen last year, stop the run, stop the run, you're not going to be yelling that much. These two guys are center stones and stopping the run. And then we got Leonard Floyd on the edge. They can put, oh my goodness, the run. I'll be surprised if we're not top 3 against the run in 2024.
Yeah, I'd be surprised too. And also like getting after the quarterback too. I think it's going to be, I think it's definitely going to be different this season.
Yeah. I like Leonard Floyd. He's a quiet signing. I know he's not the big names that went out there, but for one, Leonard Floyd doesn't get hurt. Let's knock on wood that it doesn't start with his career here. But he's very consistent in that area. He can win his one-on-ones. Bosa is still always going to demand twos. But you always needed that extra guy on the other side. We wanted that from Chase Young. Unfortunately, Chase Young was not able to provide that. Listen, a lot of people said, why did they let him? Why did he leave? He didn't want. The Niners let Chase Young go. Trust me. They saw they love his work ethic, but he kind of slowed down a couple times in the game. His heart wasn't in it, at least for what I saw on tape. And he moved on to the Saints. We brought Leonard Floyd. This guy is a beast. He wins his one-on-ones, and he's going to be a great addition to Bosa. And for those that don't know, Hargrave played a lot of the end of the year with injury. He's going to be healthy. I had people tell me, I think the signing of Hargrave was wrong. We overpaid him. I don't think so. I think if you watch the tape, Hargrave did a lot of great things for this defense, and he's going to do even more. A lot of the changes were made because of our defensive coordinator. Now that we're going back to the way we used to play ball before, I think that's going to be a benefit for Hargrave, and I cannot wait to see the front four that consist of Bosa, Malik Collins, Hargrave, Javon Hargrave, and now Leonard Floyd. I think this is going to be a great front four, and I understand the whole Greenlaw. Is he going to be ready? He's working on it. But I don't know about you, Jess. I don't know how familiar you are with the linebacker that we picked up from Green Bay. A lot of people want it. We're upset that we lost, what's his name, that was from Minnesota. He went to the Dallas Cowboys. He kind of backed out on us.
I forget his name already.
yeah, really. But the guy that we picked up, to me, and I'm not saying this just because he's with us now. If you look at the film, I like this kid. The only thing is with the kid from Green Bay, he's been hurt a lot. And hopefully that can change with us here. But if this kid can remain healthy, he's a very good pass rusher and can cover. So if there's somebody that can step in, not to fill his shoes for Greenlaw, but to kind of help us to make it through while he's continuing to heal, this kid is the real deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think we had like a sneaky good off season, like in free agency. I was definitely happy with the picks. I know on my show, Maddie B was banging the table for Leonard Floyd for 2 years, 2 seasons, and now we finally have him. I'm definitely more excited for the defense this year than I was last year. Although I was giving Steve Wilkes the benefit of the doubt, him coming in, and I thought that we would pick up where we left off with D'Amico Ryans. That obviously didn't happen. I mean, maybe the first 5 games we did, it was like D'Amico never left. But then it obviously changed, and I think if we did win the Super Bowl, I think Wilkes would have been gone anyway.
Yeah, he just wasn't. Listen, he wasn't a fit, and I'm not here to discredit. And I know you're not doing it, but we're not here to discredit Steve Wilkes. I think Steve Wilkes is a great defensive coordinator, but he had to change his scheme for us. He was not able to bring his own scheme. He was not able to bring his own personnel. I have not. It's been a long time that I've heard of a defensive coordinator coming to a team without bringing one single person that he wants to bring with him. It was hard for Steve Wilkes to adjust to that. So it just wasn't a match. I think Kyle had to find someone quickly to replace him, and he went with experience. Now he's going to go. He's going with his gut with the young kid. I think he wanted to replace him last year. The guy that we got this year, I keep forgetting his name. Our secondary guy, as our defensive coordinator this year. I think the Niners wanted him last year, but they went with the
Nick Sorensen?
experience. I'm sorry.
Nick Sorensen?
Yeah, Nick Sorensen. Thank you, babe. My baby bought me Jamba Juice. Yay. Yeah. So, him, Nick. I think Nick is going to do a phenomenal job. It's this defense does. You just got to let the players play. We have great starters on here. I think our defense is going to be great, and our offense is already great, and it's going to be better. This team. Listen, I understand that there's teams like the Lions that have become better. Green Bay looks better. A lot of teams out there. Dallas is always going to be Dallas. I'm not worried about them. But as long as the Niners are the Niners and they play Niner football, and to me, my greatest concern every year with the Niners is just injury bug. If we can kind of get through that, I understand we're going to have injured players. It just happens in football. But 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe I can deal with that. When you lose somebody for the season, those are the hard backbreakers that I don't want to face. If we can stay away from that, this team will make it back to the Super Bowl. And I know it sucks that we lost in the Super Bowl. It sucks that we lost to Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, we lost to a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Right now, Patrick Mahomes is the guy. So there's no hate to losing to a quarterback and a coach like the Chiefs. It still sucks to lose, period. But we'll be back, and we're going to be playing good football. And at the very least, Niners football is fun to watch during the season because how good they are. Aren't they, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the faithful should be excited again this year, because like we were relatively healthy last year. Hopefully that continues. Like you said, it's football. Injuries happen, but yeah, I'm certainly excited. Are you excited for this season?
I'm always excited. Every year I get excited. I'm the type of person that I scratch last year and I start fresh the next year. There's nothing we can do about last year. The good or the bad. It's not none of the good or the bad of last year is going to affect anything this year. So the fact that we lost the Super Bowl, the fact that we got none of that matters anymore. It's reality. It happened. It's part of history. But that has nothing to do this year. This is a whole new year. We're starting fresh. All 32 teams have one goal. Only 2 teams make it there, and only 1 team accomplishes that goal. And if you ask me, the Niners' chances of accomplishing that is high compared to other teams. Other teams out there don't have that same fire. They may want their team to make it to the Super Bowl, but reality says, yeah, this is not going to be a year. You can't say that about the Niners. The Niners, every year we go in, there's always a chance to get there. And for me, and for a lot of you, that's something to be excited about as Niner fans. Your team has a chance. Regardless of what happened last year, they have a chance this year to get there. And that's all you want as a fan, for your team to have a chance to get there, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we're we've been relevant for a while now, and it's just a matter of getting over that hump. And hopefully it's this year, because we should have had it. We should have definitely had it. We can go back over it and and just analyze everything and stuff like that. But you know what? It's done with. The new season is upon us, and we need to just look forward. And it's definitely exciting time to be a 49ers fan.
It sure is. It sure is, Jess. We have a history of winning. We have a pedigree of 5 Super Bowls. I know a lot of fans. First and foremost, I don't understand when Niner fans engage with other fans talking smack back and forth. I think that's so beneath each and every one of us. even for other fan bases, because history is history. You know, the whole fans that say, well, the Niners haven't won a Super Bowl since the salary cap era, or the last time they won a Super Bowl was while VHS was out. And all those are true statements. They're honestly true statements. I can't argue that. That's a true statement. But what I can say is they have 5 Super Bowls. And if your team won one Super Bowl during the last couple of years, but you only have 2 Super Bowls, Niners still have more. Even if they won it during the VHS era, they still have 5. What's up, Tar? Hi, welcome. They still have Tar. Excuse me. They still have 5 Super Bowls. That will never be taken away. The trophies are in the facility. The Niners are 5-time Super Bowl champions since the Super Bowl era started, and that can never be denied. Do we want a new one? Yes. Do the young people want to experience the 6th Super Bowl? Of course. But you can never take away history that was accomplished. We have 5, and a lot of teams don't. And they can hate, and they can cap, and they can say all the dumb things they say. But this is what I said, I won't mention the name, but a certain Rams fan keep throwing in my face about the Niners haven't won a Super Bowl since VHS, blah, 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 right? I'm like, okay, you're right. You're right. We have it. But don't you think your team should have taken an opportunity during the time of the absence of the Niners winning the Super Bowl, and you can only muster 2? Only 2? All those years that the Niners haven't won one, your team only got 2? That's it? Mm-hmm. That's sad. We have more Super Bowls than everybody combined in our division. And that's history, and that's reality. So let me tell you, Niner fans, if fans make fun of your team because they lost the Super Bowl, whether they want to hear it or not, whether they agree with you or not, you can tell them, yeah, we lost, and it sucks. But we were there. We got to see our team play in the Super Bowl. How many fans can say that? And, and
not many.
Not many. And the common thing people say, the haters say, I shouldn't say fans, the haters say, and this is the hilarious thing, Jess, if my team's going to lose the Super Bowl, I'd rather not even get there. You know how stupid and idiotic that sounds?
I love that statement.
How do you know you're going to lose while you're there until you lose? The fact, if I know I'm going to lose, I don't want my team to be there. That is so stupid. Somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, but you have the 50-50 chance of winning when you make it to the Super Bowl. How many chances did the Dallas Cowboys have of winning the Super Bowl last year? 0, because they were out. The Lions, 0. The Ravens, they play so good, 0. Even though we lost to the Ravens the way we did in Christmas, the Niners still had 50 chance of winning the Super Bowl. What was the percentage for the Ravens? 0. Just keep things into context. Your team is relevant. Your team is good. It doesn't matter if we lose a game in the fashion that we lose in regular season. It matters how you finish. And unfortunately, we came short in getting the Super Bowl. But I'm not giving up. I look forward every year. Every year it's our chance. And I believe we're going to do it this year. Until we don't, then we'll discuss it again. But I believe we have the chance. And I believe if we remain healthy, we have our quarterback, we have our receivers, we have our tight end, we have our running back, we have an offensive line that, even though it could be improved, they do okay. They were not as bad as people say they were. They had some mess ups, yes. But our defense is going to get better. We're going to be better against the run. And so I really believe that our chances of getting there and winning it all are better than they were last year.
Yeah, I agree. And most notably because we have the key guys that will be back.
That is a great point. We do. A lot of our key guys, Kittle's back. Ayuk is going to be back. Debo, Christian McCaffrey, Jews. We lost some players on defense, but they were not unreplaceable. Sometimes it's hard to let players go because our attachments throughout the years as a fan, but they're not, it's not like we lost Bosa. It's not like we lost Fred Warner. Now, if we lost Fred Warner, I'm panicking because I love Fred Warner. He is arguably my best favorite player on defense. Is Fred Warner, and it just not just what he does on the field, but the way he studies, the way he just this guy just draws me into everything that he does, man. I love it. It has nothing to do that I know his dad, but he's a cool cat, and I love Fred Warner. I think this team is positioned to do great. As long as we don't fight our worst enemy every year is the injury bug, we will be successful. I was wondering why you were not moving on my Facebook page. My page got frozen. I'm like, she's not moving. And I looked at me and I'm like this. I'm like, okay, I know I'm moving. So we're coming to a conclusion. Listen, guys, let's use this last few minutes of our hour to kind of promote. Me and Jess decided to, once again to go ahead and go live during the draft. Thursdays is our new day now, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock Eastern, if you fall in those time zones. Every Thursday, live with me and Jess. Unless something comes up, we'll let you know. Please make sure to follow us on Twitter, because that's where I do my most updates, if we're not going to go live, if something came up, blah, blah, blah. You will be informed there. You can also be informed on Facebook and Instagram. But for the most part, unless something comes up, we will be coming live, and we're going to set it off with next Thursday. We're going to go live for the whole draft for all 32 picks. And we're going to talk not just about our Niner picks. We're going to talk about certain players and how it helps certain teams, or how maybe that player is not going to benefit, because we all know not every player benefits where they go to. The kid that went to the Panthers did not benefit a lot going there. I think Kyle Williams going to, or what's his name? I think I said his name wrong. But the guy from USC.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb. Thank you. I think he's going to a good situation, actually. I know I said that earlier about the quarterbacks go to die, but they have been ramping that offense. They've been bringing receivers. So him going to that team gives him a better chance than the kid that went to the Panthers last year. So keep that in perspective when we do. But we are going to cover the draft, and then on Saturday, and it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Correct, Jess? And we're going to cover it unless something comes up. We'll let you know. We're going to have guests. If not, it's going to be me and Jess. We're going to have a blast. Make sure to join us starting next Thursday at 5 p.m. We'll probably go live a little bit earlier. We'll see. Me and Jess will discuss it. But if you're following us and you're subscribed and you have the notification bell, you will be told when we go live so you don't miss out. Jess, anything you want to say? What's going on with your channel? What's happening before we go?
Well, it's the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. We're on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. This Wednesday, we're going to have Steph Sanchez on to talk the draft.
All right, I like her.
And come join us, like and subscribe, and go Niners.
For some reason, I don't get the notifications when you go live at 5. I have unsubscribed and then subscribed again, and I just don't get your notifications. I try to remember, unless something reminds me. Yeah, I miss my own. I tell Jess one time we were getting ready for a show. Like, are you ready? I'm sitting there, forgot almost about it, and I heard it. So don't be yelling at me, guys, because I already heard it from Jess last year. So I won't do that again. But yeah, so I try to go to your show, but everybody check out her show. They have great. I love Maddie. I hate when I make names because wait a minute, Maddie, Becca, and he's gonna kill me. Ty. Thank you. Faces I'm good with. Names I am terrible. Damian Lee popped in. Welcome, Damian. Welcome, Jason. Captain Niner, my Uso is in the house. How you doing, beloved? Good to see you. So, guys, make sure to follow us here. Make sure we're trying to grow our Niners Now podcast, YouTube. Our live feed goes on my channel and the Niners Now podcast. So make sure to subscribe. Let's grow it. And everyone, thank you for joining us. See you guys next week. The draft is going to be here. We're going to have a lot to talk about. It's going to be fun. Niner fans, remain excited and remain faithful. We'll see you next week. Peace. Have a blessed day.
Yeah. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.